This is episode 7, and today I'm happy to have as a guest Marco Amadori.
Hi to all.
Hello, thank you for joining and dedicating this time today for having this conversation with me. First of all, I really would like to start with who you are, who is Marco Amadori, and what are you fighting for?
This is an excellent question. I don't know if I really know who I am right now, but for most of people, I'm involved in the Bitcoin community since I think some of the beginnings in Italy. My first public video when I speak about Bitcoin is from 2012, September 2012, when I was asked to provide a speech in a TEDx format, which is like 18 minutes in speaking in a theater. In fact, I was speaking Bitcoin just for the last couple of minutes of my talk because it was on. It was a it was the final point of a talk about what we could name as a mental cognitive surplus. It was in Italian, and it is about the free time liberated by less hour to work, which the main point was that in a couple of centuries ago, this liberated time went exclusively to gin and alcoholic. And with the digital age, I did some examples, some silly example. There were the popular lolcats, so pictures of cats were popular in internet at that time. It was an example of what to do in your spare time, which has a massive impact. And the real one was the real legs were open source software and open data movement, which Bitcoin is both, since the code is open source and the transaction data are open financial data, which were unavailable to public before Bitcoin, and it still is some data that is not available for doing analysis. So this was my first approach with public speaking too, also, and Bitcoin, and then I went to a research center located near Trento, which is specialized in what is nowadays called artificial intelligence. My research unit was about a semantic web, so the idea that web is not just a collection of pages, but it's see as a database, a linked database as a whole. And when the ICT leader of this research facility came back from the States with Bitcoin in mind, he asked if someone in the research center had some expertise in that, and someone told about me. We did a talk, and he asked me to prepare a public speech for the entire research center, which I did in the fall of 2014. Some months after, I had Italian journalist who interviewed me about Bitcoin, and then started also the first shops of what is called now the Bitcoin Valley. Bitcoin Valley is a place in Europe where we have the mass density of merchants accepting Bitcoin per inhabitants. It's located around Rovereto in North Italy. And it started like a game, because I was asking at first when I was researching Bitcoin for the research center, which is called the FBK, Fondazione Bruno Kessler. And at FBK, we still have pizzeria, a pizza shop located near the facility, and I asked the owner if he wants to try to accept Bitcoin, since I was preparing to do a speech for the research center. He gladly accepted. After this, some local journalists put an article about, in fact, a misleading article, because it was written that the research center was more involved than it did initially. And also other shopkeeper and of the surrounding asked if someone knows me. We had with some shopkeeper some friends in common, and I gave my advice to how to accept Bitcoin in their venues. And after that, the word of mouth spread a bit, and some or other shopkeepers went to these experimental trials, I say. After, yeah, I started my business because we had a difficulty with the research center. It changed the politics in our local area, and they cut the funding to the research center, so they cannot hire me, because the conference was quite a success. I was expecting like 15, 20 people, at least. There were different hundreds. So for their research standard, it was a huge success. And we started talking about creating a research unit just for Bitcoins. We were ahead of time. The MIT experience, blockchain and Bitcoin experience, wasn't started yet at the times. So we could have some leadership, but money cuts our dreams, and we started another dream with since I cannot do 100% research on Bitcoin in the research facility, I left the research center to start my first company, which is in Bitcoin. With the initial business plan was about spreading the Bitcoin Valley idea, but then clients and what we market want for us transformed our company in more research and development company. We are now within Bitcoin serving clients that are that needs some technology over Bitcoin, and we are doing exactly that right now.
The standard, for example, implementation of a wallet, a person or a business, if they want to integrate it as a payment or something on top of it, you're building applications or creating your own, let's say, environments for Bitcoin. So what are the services and the products that you're currently providing to the people via in Bitcoin as a company?
As a company, this kind of product, we created another company for that, which is Bimanity, which is more famous for the flagship shop, which is Compro Euro, which is an Italian word joke, because the gold shops in Italy are known as Compro Oro, which means I buy gold.
Okay.
And since the idea of the gold shops were a place when you bring your ancient thing of value, namely gold, to receive some smarter value like euro. And we did the same with the Compro Euro. So you bring your old money, which is euro, and you leave with a better and smarter money, which is Bitcoin. And so we wanted to have a name that brings people I'm comfortable with. So what doesn't mean that they are buying euro. All shops are taking euro for things they sell. So what is the difference? What is the main issue? So the citizen part of services.
Compro euro, and that's what you've just told me. It's raising the curiosity in the people. They try
Correct.
it. Okay, got it.
Yeah, correct. So the product and services for the citizens, for so Bitcoin as money, as a means of exchange, are served by this company now, by Bimanity and Compro Euro. We have a wallet which is based on green from Blockstream, which
Mhm.
when we started it was and it still is the most secure mobile wallet. And we just did some stuff that brings raise the experience we we know from since past years in Bitcoin Valley, having to face with the shoppers directly. Our before the lockdown, all our developers were living in Rovereto in a house.
I
So
remember when
they,
you visited.
yeah, yes, the house is where the Altana is. Altana is the name, also the name of our mobile wallet, which means Altana means a terrace over roofs.
I
It's an
remember the
Italian word.
terrace is wonderful, your terrace. So you can see basically the mountains and everything, the whole thing.
Correct. Since the terrace was inspiring to us, we choose the name that the owner used to indicate it, which is Altana, which is not a common word in Italian, but it's a
Okay.
real Italian word, to design exactly that. When the terrace over the roofs are smaller than the roof itself. Also, maybe English speaker know the term belvedere, which is similar, but it's a different kind of terrace. So Altana was our wallet, which included some of the feature we saw that people living near us and dealing with Bitcoin desired, and also to ease the experience of the shoppers. Because when we started in 2014, before the company existed, we saw that the solutions available on the market were exactly artificial ones, developed by people who had no real experience in having to deal with bitcoins.
Oh,
So we add to our software that kind of experience, because we are not imagining how people will deal with Bitcoin. We are dealing ourselves with also payment in Bitcoin. The wages were in Bitcoin, and so the developer will leave the house, go to the local pub, and pay with Bitcoins. We also had the first experience in Europe with the Lightning Network, which is one
first
of the
experience in
promising.
Europe with Lightning Network. Is
Yeah,
very
the a couple of pubs in Rovereto are accepting Bitcoin via Lightning Network. Also, some international guests we had have tried this experience, and it worked surprising well with different Lightning wallets and different kind of open channels. So we had this particular record. In Bitcoin now is doing the same in that he is doing in last couple of years. So we are serving third-party clients with research and development software custom for them. We are doing some work in the token over Bitcoin area. When we have a spare time, we try to bring back something to the community. I came with roots in open source software. I was the creator of Debian Live in 2003. which is a system that permits to start a Linux operating system from anywhere in with yeah from like CDs, USB keys, also by network with off-the-shelf hardware. It was my research and enthusiasm before Bitcoin. So we contributed a couple of things. I think the most interesting one, developer-wise, is Lighter, which is a consensus layer for Lightning Network implementation. So the developers of Lightning application doesn't need to choose a particular Lightning node, but it can develop with some extra feature and choose change the Lightning nodes underneath without troubles.
This is kind of additional privacy, security. Why this is a valuable technology? Why do we need it?
No, it's not needed, I think, for the citizen or consumer point of view. It's for developers, because developers needs a stable layer to develop platforms. Some Lightning node implementation lacks in securities, some other lacks in way to provide authentication authorizations. And so we provide a common interface with best practices to achieve that. This is Lighter. And also
Lighter, like, no?
Yeah, the same name as a lighter that brings fire to cigarettes. Yes, the same name because it enlightens the different implementation of Lightning networks.
Like Lighter. Okay, got it. Thank
you. And also we are interested in RGB and spectrum technology, which is I think the next generation of token creation. Although in the latest months we're really busy with our clients, and we didn't contribute much to the project in latest days, but the things are changing now. We are back with full force for the project, also because one of our customer will need that technology in the future. So in Bitcoin is mostly a software company for Bitcoin technologies. We are not using alternative name like cryptocurrencies or blockchain technologies, because we know that the main thing
clever people. So
yeah, Bitcoin technology. We are using Bitcoin. When I talk about blockchain, I mean the Bitcoin blockchain. When I talking about tokens, I mean tokens over the Bitcoin blockchain. So we were one of the company that choose the Bitcoin name in the company name, where other people were scared at times, and they called blockchain something, chain other ways, crypto, anything. No, we were knowledge about that Bitcoin is the real thing, and the rest is probably fad or worse.
Okay, got it. So I do absolutely agree with you from that part. Of course, I've joined that industry 2 years ago, so definitely I'm not capable to comment more than that. But I see that this industry, unfortunately, is full with scams and with misleading information. We won't focus on it. I have some experiences, and maybe it's a subject to another conversation. One day I can make only for the scams in this world, maybe something like the biggest scams. But yeah, Bitcoin only. That's why this is also the name of my webinar, shows in Bitcoin. Okay, great. And what about this wonderful office and the wonderful people that I've met? So they're right now working from home. The Russians
Yeah,
are going to.
yeah. Too bad that we need to leave that place
Mm,
because different things. Probably also without COVID, we will we will have to do the same. People are have found love our developers while staying in Inbit home. That's how we call it, and they are now living with their girlfriend. So it was impossible to have such a small community working through great ideas anymore. So, but thanks also to COVID, we accelerated a bit this process as any business had to do, and now we are happily working with home, and we try to meet ourselves in
right. And it's also
different
kind of a cost optimization. So as you said, sometimes it's needed, you can afford it, sometimes it's not so affordable, but at the end of the day, when the people are happy and are productive, and this technology in general are enabling us to have these conversations like we do right now. So I think it's pretty fine. um,
yeah,
okay,
it
and
is.
how many people in total are working for in Bitcoin, or for these groups of businesses and mini projects that you've mentioned about?
It was a bit spread out because for the initial company, since the initial company in Bitcoin, we created two more companies. One I already mentioned, it's Bimanity for the Compro Euro shops and the Compro Euro services. And the other one is Satoshi Design, which is a company about communication and design. We came
Where
out.
Pony, who was one of my guests, is actually representing the company and working for the same Satoshi. Uh,
Sorry, I didn't understand your question.
Mir Liponi. Uh,
Yeah, Mira, which is the wife of Giacomo, is involved in Satoshi Design. Correct.
so it's the same company. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's correct. And the other one, which is not created by us, but somehow we had a word in the beginnings. Also, we are as people involved in it.
mhm.
It's Bicademy.
Okay.
Academy is a company that does courses and teaches education about Bitcoin, and Giacomo is one of the latest, also co-founder of which is Mira Liponi's husband. Yeah, and so we have this ecosystem of four different companies
Mhm.
which we have also some friend companies which have no direct involvement into, but which somehow we put it in our ecosystem too, which is Coinlex, which is a company from mainly Stefano Capaccioli, Pier Giorgio Burlone e Giorgio Maria Mazzoli, which is a legal and consultancy company,
Mhm.
which is our business friend, but we are not exactly involved in the
Directly or not.
foundation, in the company structure. So we created an ecosystem. Yeah, we spread our knowledge in different companies
Mhm.
to achieve. I think. To have people working their best interest, where their passion is, and to increase the happiness, I think, in general. So, so strictly talking about Bitcoin, we have 7 developers and some other people that doing other things like marketing and bureaucracy, legal,
Right.
and yeah, yeah.
Do you work with freelancers, or mainly you're hiring the people as your employees?
Our employees are all, if I understand the question correctly, are all employed by in Bitcoin. We have no external aid. recurrent.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe other companies like Academy, they have some figures like that, but we tend to invest in our people
Yeah.
and bring with
Great.
ours.
That's great. And also with this B Academy, I assume there are lots of opportunities for development. And if a person is curious about one part of the story and later realizes that his or her passion is something else, simply by upskilling via B Academy, you can make your team bigger and make them also feel great.
Yeah, there are different kind of courses of education for private, for companies, and with different approaches, legal stuff, developer stuff, different kind of approaches. I will suggest to go to the B Academy. It's not B Academy. It's the Academy with B instead of A. So bacademy.it is
Academy, BC Academy, B Academy. So let me just open this website just in order to make sure we're talking about the same B Academy.
bacademy.
We can be kind of, and by the way, is everything in Italian only? Also the education in a B
Uh,
Academy
for
or
now, most of material they went into in Italian. They did something in the past also in English, but now they are opening a UK company. We still be called Academy. It's not a chapter. Uh, to leverage the also different kind of courses in different languages and also different kind of products, more traditional finance in UK,
right?
but is still is not
It's
created
not
yet.
live yet. It's
It is this one. Yes, it is correct. The
okay.
Academy.
Great, great. So, me personally, I think that I'm aware with the majority of the content, but I'm not fluent Italian speaker. So, definitely, if this content step by step maybe gets translated, I see your pages in English. So, definitely, this would serve as a not only foundation base, but for lots of people who are curious to learn more about the technology, this is a place which they can start from, I assume.
Sure, sure, sure.
Great.
They did a lot of different courses from free ones in different part of Italy pre-lockdown, and which were mostly introduction courses for Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And also we did with in collaboration with in Bitcoin we did the first. It was October 2018
Mhm.
18 and it was a advanced developers course with advanced material with also teachers from in Bitcoin, so real developers doing real things. And it was a very beautiful and big course. Probably now they are it was like 10 weeks. So, it
Weeks.
was also the biggest, yes, the biggest and longest course the Academy did. Now they are doing a smaller and smaller courses with
All
different
these
topics.
courses are paid, right? So there are no courses for free.
Now there are also some free courses, but I mainly there were introductory courses or just one day or two about legal aspects and so on. So there are also free stuff.
Okay. Okay, thank you for this information. I will definitely have a look a little bit deeper. I'll dive into the academy to check their materials and what kind of courses they're planning. Also, this new entity and the extension of the project in London is very interesting. Um, what about the mass adoption that everybody is talking about? By the way, I attended one of your meetings with the Milan community, Bitcoin Milan community. It was during the coronavirus time, and I heard you saying that the Bitcoin mass adoption is inevitable.
Yeah.
I would like
Yeah.
you to tell me why.
In that particular talk you are referring to, we were talking about a different kind of mass adoption.
Okay.
Often people think about mass adoptions, about paying coffee in the shop where they live in Bitcoin. But
Mhm.
probably is not the mass adoption we will experience with Bitcoin. I give you as an example, gold. It was mass adopted by humanity a long time ago, but you're still not able to pay nowadays a coffee with some grams or micrograms of gold. Yeah, because it's difficult to use but this doesn't impede you to buy real gold and use it as a reserve of value. So probably the function of Bitcoin, which will be mass adopted sooner than the other, will be using the usage of Bitcoin as a reserve value. So we'll not see. uh, Also, if we are good with Bitcoin Valley clones, we will probably not see a mass adoptions where you can buy everything with Bitcoin
I
in
would like to
your
feel
local
the.
town.
I'm really sorry that I don't fully agree with you, but I would love. I mean, of course, most probably, but if now it's completely different with the fact that there's so many additional coins, which most probably I would only if I have to buy something now for day-to-day exchanges and buying coffee, I'll buy Tether and.
Why that?
The bitcoins I'm going to keep them on a safe place and just thinking about the future and considering them.
Okay, okay.
I want to buy coffee with uh, like with digital cash. uh,
Why you are? I know your line of thoughts because it's common to different Bitcoiners. So they are willing to not spend Bitcoin
right.
because they think that Bitcoin will rise up in price.
Mhm.
So if you really think like that, I usually tell the people who are saying that to me that why you're still having no Bitcoin. If you really think that Bitcoin will go up in price, you should already go 100% Bitcoin.
It's too
And
many.
and
It's
and my,
go
and
100% Bitcoin. See, of course,
sorry.
if you have, let's say, if you are an employee, like I'm not hypothetically, and you receive a salary of a X amount, it's good. Just it's my personal opinion. You just to divide, let's say, 20-30% from this amount and to invest in Bitcoin and to not to use it because
Yeah, I know. It's probably correct to do that. But if you're still not spending Bitcoin, you are thinking that Bitcoin will rise in price.
right.
So you should not have an amount of cash not you using for using to buy things,
But for
because all the cash you are not using, you are not converting to Bitcoin, in your opinion, are going to lose value. So why do you want to lose value? And the answer is psychological, I think. And so the people will not spend, some people, because we in Bitcoin Valley are spending Bitcoin. Some people will not spend Bitcoin because they think they are difficult to rebuy.
Mhm.
So this makes more sense to us. And although it's the same, there are people, Bitcoiners, saying things like, "Too bad I bought 4 years ago this particular home Wi-Fi router with 6 Bitcoins. Now, if I didn't buy that router, I will have 6 more Bitcoin." But this is actually false, because if you, instead of spending Bitcoin in the past, you spent euro, you didn't bought the particular amount of Bitcoin in the past. So it's identically from mathematical point of view,
Yeah.
economically point of view, is the same. But psychologically is different, because you are not begging yourself, "Oh, too bad that 6 years ago I paid this pizza 10, 20 euro instead of buying Bitcoin." You do not say that. But if that pizza you paid with Bitcoins, it's a different thing. It's not a different thing, it's the same. You are not using that amount of money to buy Bitcoin. So it's equivalent. But psychologically is different. So we are trying in the next months. It's some months that I say I'm going telling that, but we were, as I told before, we were really busy with some of our customers,
Mhm.
and we didn't do that yet. But the feature is still in our hearts and minds, and it's called code name E ricompro, which means in Italian, "I will rebuy it."
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a feature that we are planning to add to our wallet Altana. When you are spending Bitcoin with your wallet, if you have some kind of liquidity in euro or another fiat currency, you will rebuy the same amount of Bitcoin. So if you come into the Bitcoin Valley, it's just stupid to not spend in Bitcoin, because a lot of shopkeepers are doing discount. The one of the most famous bar is doing 20% discount
In the
ever. If
so
Yes, in a bar. So you have if you take
definitely
4 beers, so you have a free fifth beer. And people we have that do have Bitcoins and do not spend Bitcoin there, it's just a psychological problem, because they think that they cannot do in the next 2 days, a couple of days, or rebuy the same amount they spent in the bar. And maybe they prefer spending euro, which is not nonsense, because if you spend Bitcoin, you have a 20% discount. So it there are all the fee you can imagine from exchange. It is covered by 20% of discount. So we are going to give to those people another motivation to spend Bitcoin when they think it's a good idea. Uh, and it's not yeah, maybe for coffee and beers it's just a silly thing, but there are mainly some usage of Bitcoin that are not available for to other payment meanings, which I talking about
stupid. I mean,
WikiLeaks.
but just if you think logically, yes, you say one Bitcoin is always one Bitcoin, or one Satoshi is always one Satoshi. But yes, psychologically, when I know, for example, okay, I'm going to buy this beer for €3 or with the discount less, and okay, right now, just the satoshis I'm going to spend, most probably the value of these satoshis in 1 year will be completely different. Yes, of course. Otherwise, I've spent cash, most probably these €3 in cash, which I haven't. But you're completely right that there is kind of a psychological barrier that
Yeah, because mathematically it's equivalent. Is not it's the same. The amount of money you have in a particular period is unrelated to the price of Bitcoin. So if you spent euro or Bitcoin, you spent the same amount of non buying Bitcoin, or just saving Bitcoin if you didn't. So it's mathematically is the same. Spending a thing in the past in Bitcoin or in euro, it's the same, because you didn't buy that euro quantity of Bitcoin in the past. So it's absolutely equivalent. But I know that psychologically there are some short circuits in. So okay, we will serve also that thing with the idea of e ricompro.
Really.
But
Oh,
it's not available right now.
yeah, not
So
yet. Yet.
not yet.
Work in progress. Okay, perfect. So we'll understand about this in more details a little later. Thanks for sharing the big picture and the main governance and the direction with this new product. Um, I wanted to talk to you about something which I'm really curious about, and it is how, for example, this Bitcoin variant, you say you would like to replicate this idea, I would like uh, to have more people and mini communities who are creating the environment in their own cities, villages where they live. How hard
But
is it actually to
I
happen?
don't know if it is easily to replicate. We didn't work really hard to make it, but we had some peculiarities. So there was a company which was in Bitcoin. There were some people interested, which were some friends of mine and the initial employees, and we lived the company life, spreading the word of mouth of Bitcoin. We we were get paid in Bitcoin, so we had to spend them. Probably to create a community, you just have to have a community. So if you want to create one where you live, first you need to start to have a community of Bitcoiners, and then maybe ask some friendly bartender that if you want to try to accept Bitcoin from you, just from you, not for any other people. And probably the thing will work as it did for us. Then okay, you don't have to start a Bitcoin company. Probably you can leverage our experience. We can provide now services to your merchants, so you don't have to be a developer. So you could contact us to give the services to the people. We can also do some talk about how to use Bitcoin to
Like
tell our story, education. Yes, we can do that. But in probably in the final, you need to provide your community, because we are not living where do you live, cannot do the things that we are doing day after day in your place.
do
So
you
just to start a community, and we can bring you all the different parts. So the merchant services, wallet for citizens, and also our experience and our stories.
which is the biggest
Yeah,
value.
maybe it's yes, it's easier to replicate with our help, but I think that you need to create a Bitcoin community. You need a community, just that.
Hypothetically asking for people who are going actually to see this recording, because the curiosity about Bitcoin, and not only it's not only curiosity, people, even people who don't understand the technology, they started investing in it, buying some Bitcoins, just exploring what is it and how it's working. So I'm very positive about it, and if it's not me, there are lots of people in general who are passionate about Bitcoin, and I believe in this kind of mass adoption to start paying end to end with Bitcoin, and to have it not only in bars but yeah,
Also for buying shoes.
of course, for shoes. This is the most important thing, to buy shoes.
Yeah, also in our first years, we leveraged buying shoes in Bitcoin, because it was there were a now defunct company which were called Purse.io, that permitted you to buy things from Amazon in
Uh-huh.
Bitcoin with a discount, with a big discount.
With
Also
Amazon,
in that. Yeah, it is not. It was closed down, but it was a neat idea, and we leveraged that to yeah, maybe mostly sorry for the sexism, but for girls that were the most important thing for them in 2015 and 16 to buy Bitcoin was to buy shoes in Bitcoin via Amazon with the discounts, crazy discounts that were like 60% discount to any Amazon product.
Wow.
60, not 16, 60,
Six
up to 60.
oh,
In Rovereto started some spontaneous movement of people buying shoes for
ladies
other
calling
people.
you, uh,
Yeah,
Amadori,
I give
please,
you.
I need
Yeah,
you.
buy me that shoes. I give you euros, and you buy in Bitcoin. And they were buying bitcoins in local pubs also. So it surely helped to create a community.
The shoe
And yeah,
Amazon.
the
Great.
also the reason for the shoppers were different. There were some shops that was very interested in Bitcoin for the political innovation, like the vegan restaurant was interested not really in making money out of Bitcoin, but because it was perceived as a more money for the people, something more liberating, for freedom. While other businesses simply kept the Bitcoin, and in a couple of years they went completely mad, because when we started, one Bitcoin was like 300 euros, 200 also, and now it's 40 times the value when our first shop started to keep Bitcoin, because first business were converting Bitcoin in euro,
Okay.
like yeah,
Like an
key client.
kind of exchange.
Yeah, yeah. The first approach is similar to most of shopkeepers. They would like to have the exposition to the technology, but they do not want to learn or to manipulate Bitcoin. Just access to more clients, and or just to do marketing, because if you have a competitor, you have Bitcoin, you have a local competitor, probably your competitor needs something like overboards with flaming sword lasers or something strange if you have Bitcoin
Mhm.
to keep up the pace. So there were these kind of motives, marketing mostly,
Mhm.
some idealists,
Mhm.
and after a while they started to do a proper economic calculation, because also in our software, backend software for the merchant, we have a column when you can see all your movements, all your euro you asked, and how many Bitcoin you have, and how many euro you will have if instead of converting to euro
Mhm.
you just kept Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And obviously, since we started in 2016 with the company, it was it is an easy calculation to do. All the our shopkeeper that kept Bitcoin instead of converting to euro are really happy about their choice.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So I do strongly believe that if people buy now, they'll be happy after some time, happier than today.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure. About I didn't answer your mass adoption completely. Why I say it is inevitable, because or are unavoidable, because a couple of more than a couple, but I give you some hints about my whole thinking. One is that right now Bitcoin is one Bitcoin is rare in like 10 kilograms of gold. this is an easy calculation because
Okay.
the humanity as a whole has extracted from the mines, gold mines in the entire history of humanity, like 180,000 tons of gold, and which is often told the story as imagine a cube of gold with 20 meters of a cube, and the the whole number of Bitcoin extracted so far, but we could go also, you can take it that the whole number that we will reach in a century, like 21 million Bitcoins. Let's see, use 18 instead of 21 because it will be make calculation easier. We have 180,000 tons of gold divided by 18 millions, and you will see that the rarity of one Bitcoin is the same of 10 kilograms of gold. This is just the rarity. It's not the value. The value of one Bitcoin is about $9,000, and in a gold, 10 kilograms of gold are worth like half a million dollar, I think,
Yeah.
roughly.
Sooner
Yeah,
or later,
but this number will increase
Mhm.
as time goes on. So if now one one Bitcoin is rare like 10 kilograms of gold, in the future will be rare as 11 kilograms of gold, then 12, and so on. With the next halving event, we just have at one,
Mhm.
where the halving event, it's a thing in the Bitcoin protocol that happens roughly every 4 years, and it halves the reward of the miner. It passed in June 2020 from 12.5 to 6.25 new Bitcoins every block. In the next halving, which will happen hopefully in 2024, the stock to flow ratio, which is often used as a comparison between different precious metals,
Mhm.
will go lower than the one of gold, which has one of the lowest stock, the biggest stock to flow ratio, which is the stock is how many this particular metal has been extracted, and the flow is how many new units of this metal will be extracted in a year. So gold as one of the most interesting stock to flow among all metals, and Bitcoin is as it's lagging behind right now. It's close, but is not good as gold. But after the next halving, it will be rarer than 10 kilograms, and also have a better stock to flow, and it's easier to use Bitcoin than gold. If you want to transfer from Australia to Canada some gold, real gold is difficult, it's costly. If you want to send Bitcoin, it's the same that paying a coffee in the Bitcoin Valley. The technology is the same. So it's a better gold in our opinion, and people will get to used to it. So we need just time. In technical technical speech, not so technical,
Mhm.
it is called the Lindy Effect.
The Lindy.
Uh, Lindy Effect. Lindy was an Anchorman, which
Okay.
an old Anchorman that it's also used. This Lindy Effect is used to describe natural phenomena,
Mhm.
and Rowley says people believe in that a thing will be available in the future for as many years this thing exists. So Lindy was like it I don't know how in Italy there are a lot of examples. So I think in most of countries they are newcomer to the television, and if you ask people, this newcomer which is now really hot, you think it will be in the television in the next 5 years, and the people, if is a newcomer since 6 months, they will expect that since 6 months it will be gone. Instead, if it's an old and famous anchorman, since they are in television since 20 years, the people tend to talk that it will never go away. So if Bitcoin just have 10 years of existence, people will probably think that in 10 years Bitcoin will be no more. But if you just say that, you think that gold in 10 years will have no interest in humanity, so humanity will not have interest in gold, it's difficult that people will think about that, because we have thousands of years of humanity uh, interest in gold. Yeah, this is the Lindy effect. Another thing is the Metcalfe properties, which is properties of connected network that is as useful as the square of the people connected to it. Let's see like an example. We I'm invented the phone, and I'm just me with the phone. The phone is completely useless. I just can't call myself. If we are two users of the phone, is just is it becomes a bit useful. I can call you maybe, and you can call me, and that's it. But if everybody or a lot of people have the phone, it becomes more useful. So the usefulness of bitcoins pass from how many people knows about it, and how many people can handle, accept it, or spend it. So this is why it's inevitable. There are also other thoughts why will not be another crypto that will become more relevant than Bitcoin.
Yeah. I
It's
don't
the
believe, I cannot trust in this, never. I mean, maybe 2 years ago, if you have told me this, most probably, but after I've seen no, I've seen there was 24 months, definitely not. There is nothing
okay.
aside from Bitcoin. The rest is blah blah for me.
Not correct. I absolutely agree. There is Bitcoin and there are shit coins.
Yeah, alternative. Let's go. I mean, let's not be so rude, but the alternative solutions which are trying to copy paste the main idea, which it's absolutely, it's not capable to. No one is capable to copy paste this technology. It's unique. It's one, and the rest is. If people start understanding a little bit more from it, they will really start investing in it and start using it. And it's the responsibility of the real maximalist to make it talk more about Bitcoin, and in a way that they can attract people to understand more about it, and in a in a very honest, open, and a real way. Not with some scammy projects that are recently going on like crazy everywhere.
Yeah, probably you need a special of using Bitcoin just for that particular theme to address it properly. But I tend to agree. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that. I would like also to ask you about the Bitcoin tourism, which is happening actually in the. I mean, I'd like to know more about whether you have kind of program, or how big is this idea. If someone, of course, now with coronavirus and the people were stuck and locked down, it's hard to travel. But if somebody wants to come and to visit specifically this place, can we? Is there a program which is ready? Where to go? What to visit? What to?
No, it is not. We
Okay.
thought about this idea a lot. Then after lockdown,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
were distracted to other things. But yeah, there was the idea of Bitcoin tour. because it already happened. A lot of tourists deviated from the original route
Mm-hmm.
when they saw on the maps or maybe in the news something about Bitcoin Valley. They came instead of going to Veneto, Lombardia, and they came to Trentino, and
Specific.
some of them tried to contact us to have a guided tour. Most of people just go around and see the venues. It came just for random. Also, the bit. I don't know if you know about the Bitcoin family. It's a family that some years ago sold everything to buy a van and go around
I
Europe
watched,
with
yeah,
just
several videos
Bitcoin.
I watched, yeah, I remember.
And they also passed in Rovereto, and they did a video shootage. They were absolutely astonished. It's for us, it's a bit fun to see this video because it was really enthusiastic to see also a driving school that accepts Bitcoin. It's crazy, something like that. And we were just opened the Compro Euro point. He came to us and bought some t-shirts from us and do a very beautiful reportage. There were Russian people. They came and changed their route to visit some of the venues. We had also uh, the people that doing a master thesis that came in Bitcoin Valley to we had an anthropologist that came here 2 weeks and then reserved 3 whole months to study the people, interviewing everyone about Bitcoin and their usage. We had also a Bitcoin enthusiast that saw my one of my public speak in near Venice when I talk about Bitcoin Valley in that speaker very little. He
Mm-hmm.
came after a couple of months to see Rovereto, and it transferred completely. Now he resides in Rovereto since 1 year and a half, and it was incredible to see in
Yeah.
their Facebook. Was I'm in paradise, like it was the phrase. I'm in paradise, Bitcoin and Fernet, which is the second part I didn't understand right now. But Fernet, which is an old people, I think, drink in Italy. In Argentina is very popular among the young people. So he found he came to Italy, which for him it was the um, the path so absolute patria, the state, the main state of Fernet producing, um, and also Bitcoin Valley. So their two passion, Bitcoin and Fernet, was like a paradise for him.
I'm
So
going
we have a lot of different stories of people who passed to
to Rovereto to.
Bitcoin Valley, to Rovereto, just to see, to try, to find, to verify, to try the experience. And we are trying to increase slowly because now we are focusing on research and development and really absorb us time, but we are still providing via Compro Euro and Bimanity more and more services. Today, another bar in Rovereto started keeping Bitcoin, and a lot of people in social media already arranged to give some premium support to this bar, because also in Bitcoiners' eyes, if you accept Bitcoin as a shopkeeper is cool, but if you keep it, if you keep them, is cooler. So if we have different bar, one is both accepting Bitcoin, and we know as a customers that one is keeping the Bitcoin and the other is converting to euro, will tend to go to the first,
Yeah, for
because it hasn't, also psychologically probably, because it will not impact the price of Bitcoin by selling them to,
yeah, because
yeah.
the more people are in, yeah, yep, 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 yep. Okay, so Marco, I wish you lots of success with all these projects. We
Thank
definitely
you.
keep in touch. I'm really thankful to you, and I feel grateful for having this conversation with you today. And I appreciate your time and everything that you've shared with me.
Thank you, Valeriya. I hope you success for your shoes in Bitcoin too.
Thank you. Thank you
Keep
very
up the
much.
good work.
Thank you.
And back to all, thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Bye.